Okay, we're going to be canning tomatoes today, and we just harvested several buckets of tomatoes right here, and there's several varieties. And first step is I keep track of how much each variety produces, so I'm weighing them out. Okay, so we have all the tomatoes weighed. The total weight was 45.5 pounds, and I have them put out on the table here. We're going to cut them up soon, and I wanted to list off the varieties. Aurora, Crimson Carmelo, Beefsteak, McClintock's Big Pink, Oldendorf Red, Shaw, Pontano Romanesco, Health Kick Hybrid, Ceylon, Siberian, Prudence Purple, Anna Russian, Ace, Royal Flush, Juliet, and Lemon Boy. Okay, so this is how I cut them up, and cut the tomatoes into slices and small chunks like this. And then the more they're cut, the better. And the idea is we're going to cook these down. So we had about 45 pounds of tomatoes. If you divide that by about 2.8, that'll give you the approximate number of quarts of juice we're going to get. So we're going to get about 16 quarts of juice. So the tomatoes are cut up and they're on the heat, and we're going to cook these down until they're very liquidy and boiling, and then we'll put them through the food mill. Okay, so we're cooking down the tomatoes, and want to stir frequently so it doesn't scorch. And I'm using an outdoor stove. This is a Camp Chef Explorer dual burner stove, and it puts out a lot of heat, and so I'm using diffuser plates underneath the pots to spread the heat out. Otherwise it will scorch, and then the tomato sauce will taste burnt. We want to do this until they start to froth and boil. Okay, so it's starting to boil now. You can see the froth, and then you can see all the skins have loosened up and the tomatoes are broken down. So now we're going to run this through the food mill. Okay, so I'm going to scoop the cooked tomatoes into a food mill. And I'll fill it up. And the juice will drain into a large pot. And the food mill is going to take out the seeds and the skins and let the juice flow through. And go backwards first to let the juice out, and then slowly move forward and back it off, let it drain, and just work it back and forth. And then as the skins flatten, they'll get pushed down and squeezed. So now what we have left are the skins and seeds, and I'll dump those and keep going. Okay, so the juice is now in the big pot. There's about, this is a 40 quart stock pot, and it's about a little under half full, so it's probably 16 to 18 quarts. So I decided to go for another round. These are made up of the varieties Fireworks, Santium, and Shady Lady. and we have 43.5 pounds here. So again, that should make about 15 quarts, something like that. I'm going to process those and add that to the original batch. Okay, so we have, I would guess, about 35 quarts of tomato juice all ready to be canned now. And I'm going to prepare the jars and the canners. I have my canners ready. I have 2 canners, and they're getting to the boil now. They have their racks in them. And I've got my jars ready. These are hot jars and nice and clean. And I've got my lids in boiling water. They're sucking in boiling water. I've got my funnel citric acid. I'm going to put a ½ teaspoon of citric acid in each quart jar. It's a jar lifter, and in this large pot I have the juice. So I'm going to start assembling the jars. Now I've got my citric acid in the bottom of the jar. I've got it in my funnel. I'm going to come over and take some of this hot juice and pour it in. I'll fill it up to the base of the funnel. Right there. And then I'll wipe the rim with a wet paper towel. And then I'll place on a lid. And then I'll go ahead and fill the next one. I have 7 quart jars filled. And now I'm going to put the screw bands on. And I will tighten these down finger tight. And then I'll place the jars in the canner. There's 1 canner full. A canner holds 7 quarts. So now I'm going to fill the other one. Once these come to a boil, they'll process for 45 to 50 minutes. Then I'll remove the jars and let them cool, and I'll fill them up again. Alright, so the time is up. I'm going to remove them from the canners using the jar lifter. And you'll start to hear the lids popping. And then I'll fill another set of jars and process the second set. Well, it turned out that it made 37 quarts. So I was off a little bit. So it turned out at the end there were about 2.4 pounds per quart. Okay, and then the next step is to take off the screw bands. You don't store them with the screw bands on. And then wash all the jars, dry them, and then label them with the date on the lid. And store them in a cool, dark place. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.